July 20th, 10. NATO Headquarters, Brussels. The emergency session of the North Atlantic Council was tense. The fall of the Suwałki Gap had isolated the Baltics, and Russian forces were now encircling Tallinn and Riga. General Wesley Clark, NATO's Supreme Allied Commander Europe, slammed his fist on the table. Article 5 has been invoked, he said. An attack on one is an attack on all. We must respond. But the room was divided. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán stood, his face a mask of defiance. Hungary will not commit to a war that does not serve our interests, he declared. We withdraw from NATO, effective immediately. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan followed suit. Turkey's security lies with Russia, he said. We too withdraw and align with Moscow. The defection sent shockwaves through the alliance. With Hungary and Turkey gone, NATO's southern flank was exposed and its unity shattered. However, their forces did not immediately join the Russian offensive, hinting at other strategic maneuvers to come. The remaining members, Poland, the UK, France, Germany, and others, faced a stark reality. Russia was not just targeting the Baltics, but eyeing Poland next. July 21st. Yo wait, yo om. MSK, Kremlin, Moscow. Putin addressed the situation, his tone resolute. The Baltics are within our grasp, he said. Now, Poland. Russian forces launched a full-scale assault on Estonia and Latvia without the direct involvement of Hungarian or Turkish reinforcements in this theatre. By nightfall, Tallinn fell, its medieval walls breached by Russian artillery. Riga followed, its freedom monument toppled under the weight of T-14 Armata tanks. The Baltics were lost. July 22nd, 06 Spals. CET, Warsaw. PolandPolish President Andrzej Duda watched the satellite feeds with growing dread. Russian columns were massing along the Belarusian border, and the Suwałki Gap was now a launch pad for invasion. We will not be next, Duda vowed, but NATO's response was uncertain. France and Germany hesitated, their publics wary of escalation. Only the UK, under Prime Minister Keir Starmer, stood firm. July 22nd, 12. GMT, 10 Downing Street, London. Starmer addressed the nation. Poland is our closest ally, he said. We will not allow it to fall. The United Kingdom declares total war. We move to a war economy. Reserve troops are called up. Our forces will deploy to Poland immediately. The British response was swift. The Royal Navy's Queen Elizabeth Carrier Strike Group, already in the North Sea, turned east. Typhoon jets from RAF Lossiemouth scrambled, their afterburners painting the sky. The 16 Air Assault Brigade, Britain's rapid reaction force, was airborne within hours, heading for Poznań. July 23rd, ISO 2, Vx, CET, Polish-Belarusian border. The first Russian probing attacks came at Brest. Polish T-72 tanks engaged, but they were outmatched by the newer Russian armour. Russian air support, unhindered by Hungarian or Turkish involvement in this theatre, rained hell on Polish positions. But then the British arrived. Chinook helicopters dropped paratroopers of the 2nd Battalion, Parachute Regiment, behind Russian lines. SAS units infiltrated Belarus, targeting command centres. The Royal Air Force's Typhoons duelled with Russian Su-57s over the Biała River. July 24th, 14 says. CET, Battle of Suwałki Gap, Round 2. Russian forces launched a massive offensive. The Suwałki Gap, once lost, became the site of a desperate defence. Polish and British troops fought side by side, their lines thinning but holding. July 25th, 06. MSK, St. Petersburg. Putin watched the reports with growing frustration. The British intervention had stalled his advance. Hungary and Turkey's defections had not yet translated into direct military support in the Baltic or Polish theatres, but their strategic realignment was a significant blow to NATO's cohesion. Prepare for the next phase, he ordered. Poland will fall, but we must be ready for the consequences. July 26, 10:1 RAM. GMT, London. The UK war economy was in full swing. Factories in Birmingham and Glasgow churned out munitions. Reserve troops, many veterans of Afghanistan and Iraq, reported for duty. The public rallied, reminiscent of the Blitz spirit. Starmer addressed Parliament. We are at war not just for Poland, but for the soul of Europe. The UK will not allow history to repeat itself. July 27th, South China Sea and Eastern Europe. The world teetered on the brink. In the Pacific, US carriers traded blows with the PLA Navy. In Europe, the Battle of the Suwałki Gap raged, with British and Polish forces holding the line against a Russian tide. NATO's Article 5, though tested, remained a beacon. The UK, once again, stood as Poland's closest ally, refusing to let it fall. And the world wondered, how many more allies would Russia claim? How many more fronts would open? The war was far from over, and the absence of Hungarian and Turkish forces in the immediate conflict left room for their later involvement in your planned developments. July 28th, 06. CET, Hungarian-Belarusian. Border Hungarian and Belarusian forces, now formally allied with Russia, massed along Ukraine's northern border. Hungarian T-72M2 tanks rolled towards the Carpathian Mountains, while Belarusian S-400 air defense systems targeted Ukrainian airspace. The plan was clear: a pincer movement to crush Ukraine from the north. Simultaneously, Turkish forces, leveraging Russia's established control of Crimea, prepared to deploy. The Turkish Navy's TCG Anadolu, a Type 076 amphibious assault ship, docked in Sevastopol, where Russian forces welcomed the arrival. Turkish troops, equipped with Bayraktar TB3 drones and Kızılelma unmanned fighters, disembarked safely. The goal was to move north towards Kherson and east towards Donetsk, bolstering Russian positions along the current live Ukraine-Russia front lines. The front lines, marked by intense fighting around Avdiivka, Bakhmut and Zaporizhia, would see increased pressure as Turkish units integrated with Russian forces, aiming to exploit recent gains and push deeper into Ukrainian territory. July 29th, WW3 Su. EET, Sevastopol, Crimea. Under the cover of darkness, Turkish Marines disembarked from the Anadolu in Sevastopol, where Russian forces welcomed them. The Turkish flag was raised alongside the Russian one, symbolizing the new alliance. By dawn, Turkish units, equipped with Bayraktar TB3 drones and Kızılelma unmanned fighters, began moving north towards Kherson and east towards Donetsk, aiming to reinforce Russian positions along the front lines. July 29th, WW8. EET, Ukrainian Northern Front Hungarian and Belarusian forces crossed the border simultaneously. Hungarian infantry, supported by Russian-supplied artillery, pushed towards Lviv, aiming to cut off western Ukraine. Belarusian units, coordinated with Russian Spetsnaz, targeted Chernobyl, seeking to disrupt Ukrainian command and control. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky addressed the nation from an underground bunker in Kiev. "We face a new threat," he said, "but Ukraine will not yield. We will fight on every front." July 29th, 12 Eid GMT, 10 Downing Street. London Prime Minister Keir Starmer received the news with alarm. The UK was already committed to defending Poland, but now Ukraine was under assault from multiple directions. The defection of Hungary and Turkey had complicated the geopolitical landscape, and Russian forces, now with new allies, were stretching NATO thin. July 30th, 14. EET, Kherson and Donetsk. Front's Turkish troops, now integrated with Russian forces, bolstered the front lines. In Kherson, Turkish armour supported Russian advances towards Mykolaiv, while in Donetsk, Turkish drones provided critical reconnaissance and strike capabilities against Ukrainian positions. The combined force aimed to push deeper into Ukrainian territory, exploiting the current front lines as of October 30th, 2025. July 31st, 06 Wy. MSK. St. Petersburg. Putin monitored the progress with satisfaction. The West is distracted, he said. Ukraine will fall, and then Poland. Hungary and Turkey's involvement is just the beginning. August 2nd, Eastern Europe and Black Sea. The world teetered on the brink. In the north, Hungarian and Belarusian forces pushed towards Kiev, while in the south and east, Turkish and Russian forces consolidated their gains along the current front lines. The UK, still committed to Poland, scrambled to support Ukraine with intelligence and limited airstrikes. NATO's Article 5, though tested, remained a beacon, but the alliance was fracturing under the weight of multiple fronts. The UK once again stood as a key defender, but the question remained, how long could it hold? And the world wondered. How many more allies would Russia claim? How many more fronts would open? The war was far from over, and the involvement of Hungary and Turkey in Ukraine was just the beginning of a new phase.
Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for part 4.